This time on the BK, we're one-on-one with a woman who found her voice for life in a choral community and in retirement decided she'd share her stoke with orphans from her homeland. We're also joined by her budding singer friend who's penned a novel on her mother's life story. G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Matt Konnects. I'm Matt Jai. This week we're coming to you live from sunny Sydney, Australia. That's right, Oz, down under. This week on the BK though, we're catching up with an incredible woman who helps a lot of kids who are orphans in Mexico find their voice for life. And an incredible friend of hers who has come out with a beautiful book that also inspires a lot of people, which inspired our special guest. Anyway, enough about that. Let's cut over to Control Room and see what Tommy B's been doing with his week. Tommy, how are you, mate?
Hey folks, how's it going? I've had a great week. Excited for our second episode and ready to get on with it and hear these fantastic stories and some great music.
Well, mate, I'll tell you, Tommy, it looks like the cobwebs are starting to get out of the show. We're in the second ep, but you seem to have lost a few kilos, mate. Your nickname's T-Bone. Have you been eating T-Bone steaks or you been eating nothing?
Oh man, I've just been exercising hard at home during this COVID thing, push-ups and everything in the living room, going for jogs late at night to avoid people, keeping fit, eating right, trying to live a healthy lifestyle.
Well, mate, that is the way to do it. If you're going to live, you got to live good, breathe, eat, and sleep. Now, talking about other people with us on the show this evening, I've got a very wonderful friend of ours, Miss Virginia Lagos. Are you with us there in Boothland?
Yes.
Okay, Virginia. Now, I've got in front of me a book here called Dear Annette.
Yep, Dear Annette.
Love, Mercy. Now, What is your book? Now, when was the book released and what's it about?
Well, it was released in February last year. And the thing is, this is a biography of my mother. It is based on friendship with a lady in America. They have been writing letters for 40 years.
Wow, 40 years.
Yes.
That's like 4 decades of pen pals.
Correct. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, they both passed away now, but so I based my my book on the on their letters. In fact, in the book itself is I scanned my mother's letters. The first year of her correspondence, the daughter-in-law of Annette sent it back to me, and that's I put it in the book as well.
Well, I tell you, I know a little bit about you, only about through the connection I have with my special guest this evening, or our special guest on the Matt Konnects, Miss Martha Tellez. Martha, how are you?
Oh, very well, thank you. Excellent, in fact.
Fantastic. Now, Virginia, just see if you can hear us here. We're going to cut back to you in a little bit, but Martha, tell me about your week. How's your week been in lockdown? What's been going on?
It has been great. Looking at the water, seeing the boats pass, listening to beautiful music, and getting in touch with my Mexican choir masters through Zoom.
Now, Marta, obviously, you live in Australia.
Yes.
You have got the I Have a Voice Orphans Choir. Now, we'll touch on that in a second, but Australia, how did you end up in Australia? Of all places, is it because we didn't have any good Mexican food and you had to come here and teach us, or what happened?
I came here in 1985 to visit my sister who lived here, but we are 6 members in the family, and she felt very lonely and isolated. But by me coming here, it was just a place, a country that I felt in love from the very beginning. It was in the winter, and it was so nice, clear
In Sydney?
skies.
Were you in Sydney at the time?
In Sydney.
Wow. And what was Sydney like in 1985? Was Sydney a very quiet country town? Was there Marlboro men on the street? What KB beer? What was going on here?
Nothing like quiet, but at the same time, it was not as big as it is now. Since I came here, many constructions have been happening, and it has been transformed completely. So,
what took your eye with this beautiful city initially? Was it an Australian man? Was it the Royal Botanical Gardens there in town? What was the thing that made you go, wow? Was it the beach?
well, the beach, the weather, the vegetation, the places, the blue mountains, the blue skies, the flowers. Oh, it's just an amazing, amazing country, as well as the food. There was not many international food. However, it was, since I'm here, it has grown so much, you can find food from anywhere in the world. And
Well, they say that, food is essentially life. And also, too, when there's opportunity, they call it a blue sky moment. Some things, you get to a certain threshold and you don't have any blue sky. You've hit your peak. Did you see all that blue sky and think Australia has a lot to offer me? Is that how you ended up making the journey? Or
I love nature, and I love how the plants, the green leaves were so brilliant, so pristine, and the places. If you wanted to walk or have a stroll on the beach, or you wanted to go to the mountains, or you wanted to just be meditating and enjoy the blue sky, it's just the place to be. So
the mindfulness that you just spoke of there, the meditation. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I actually lived in a co-share house with Martha, or actually Martha's partner's house. One of my good friends, Daniel Huntley, his father, Ian, who happens to be Martha's partner, invited me to come and stay there, which is fantastic when I relocated to Sydney. But I know you're a meditator. You do meditate a lot. Have you been meditating since the 80s? Because you talked about it.
absolutely, yeah, and that's something that's part of my spiritual journey every day. It's like if you don't eat breakfast, well, you need some nourishment. So for me, every day is part of my life, and it's just the
And
best place.
did you meditate on coming to Australia? Was that like a moment where you found your zen and went, I'm going to Australia? What happened there?
Well, here the inspiration came as a reality. In Mexico, there are some places, also beautiful places too. However, being in Mexico City, you never see the blue sky. It
You're
was
right.
just the gray smoke. And
What was Mexico City like in the 80s? Was it full of cowboys and cocaine and crazy times? Because Mexico is pretty wild in some ways. Or was it not back then? Was it not run by the cartels? Or
Still not run by the cartels, but a lot of people. There is a very, very crowded city.
Wow.
And in these times, I'm just concerned at what's happening over there with the
with Corona?
COVID, the coronavirus.
You still got
And,
relatives back there? Or
yeah. I have lots of relatives, but not in Mexico City. The other states are more
countryside?
calm and countryside
Yeah,
and
right.
beautiful, and with the traditions.
Brazil's like that. I mean, I've been to Sao Paulo, Brazil. I've been to Mexico just to touch in Rosarito. You know Rosarito?
Yep.
Near the border. But I know that in Sao Paulo, it's like madness. And then you go down to the outside Sao Paulo state and you're in the countryside. Oh, Sao Paulo city, sorry. Into Sao Paulo state and you're in the full countryside. Mexico must be the same.
Yeah, Rosarito is really a country town. It is in the north, and there's not many people. But Mexico City is huge. It's like in the city, 8 million people only in the city.
It's like George Street everywhere. If you compare it to Sydney, how would you say?
3 times more than George Street in the city. It is really huge.
Wow.
And so,
Shoulder to shoulder. COVID there must be heavy.
Yeah,
then.
yeah. No, it is. And also we don't have trusted statistics. However, we have from newspapers, American newspapers, some photographs and some statistics that they calculate because it's not possible to prove. And there have been many, many deaths and sad stories. So
Who's running Mexico these days? Who is your prime minister? And obviously you're out of Mexico. You got to go in there occasionally because I know there's a couple of reasons you go there every year or twice a year. But who's running the country and what's the current leadership like there?
Well, it's a new leadership and a new party. And for some people, it seemed to be like the answer of the past.
You're right.
But it hasn't been that the truth. The new president is López Obrador, and López Obrador is doing nothing for the country, and is we think it's going to be a disaster like in other countries in South America.
Okay.
It is
Former like mafia guy himself, or how did he get into
No.
power? Like,
it is.
if everyone's claiming disaster early and they put him in, how does he get there?
Oh, well, because we have had for many years, the PRI, and they have, all the presidents, they have robbed the country, and it is just like, you can see it very clearly. This other president, that is ruling right now.
Yeah, right.
It is socialist,
Okay.
but leaning to communist. So
Oh, no.
it is just really a disaster. And now it's just not credible statistics or not
Yeah, right.
credible. Whatever he says is not the real thing. So
Well, I
that's
mean, it must be so difficult when because I look at countries, I'm not sure if anyone at home does the same, but I look at a country as a company. So these days, the world's become so sophisticated and boring in its own mannerism that essentially a country is a company. So it's a company of Australia. And you can see with our import-export now, trades, what's going on with China at the moment. It's totally company-based. What's a company then like of Mexico if you got a person who's untrustworthy running it?
Well, that's a problem. He's not doing the right thing. Is even stopping some foreign investments.
Okay.
And something that is just very, very good for the country.
Well,
and
you've got I guess you got a charity called I Have a Voice Orphans Choir. That's correct.
That's correct.
And it's got an American NGO status, so it's a
That's right.
non-profit.
Correct.
How does that affect you then, having like an American non-profit but helping out people in Mexico? Because Martha Tellez here, she's got a company or an NGO through its classification and what it does. It actually helps kids out in Mexico. What do you do there, Martha?
And also, the company is now a charity here in Australia.
Okay, fantastic.
So since 2018, we became a charity here. In America, it became in 2018 also.
Yeah, right.
Became a charity. And the thing is, when I started this project, I needed, or I was looking for a mentor.
Yeah, right.
To help me with the idea, and I met this amazing, fabulous American who has been my mentor since.
Okay.
And we started the company, and that's why we became charity first in America. In the States.
Fantastic. And to have a charity, the I Have a Voice Orphans Choir, how incredible is it to help the kids of Mexico? And essentially, Tom, in the background, would you mind just queuing up a clip? Can you give me a brief description of what you do there, Martha?
Yes. One of the things I retire, I was working for a company, an American company, who does personal development programs. The name is Landmark Worldwide.
Yes.
And I retired in 2000.
What were you doing there?
I was working in accounts.
Okay.
So I retired, and then my mom was alive.
Yes.
And I have been looking after her, and she lived with me, being an incredible woman. And then when I retired, I was full-time looking after my mom, but at the same time, I started this company. And the idea got inspired because I decided to do something with my voice.
You're right.
One of the things, I'm not a singer. I cannot sing.
My voice is not the best either, I tell you.
Well, mine is worse.
I got a shower voice. I think about that,
But one of the things that I thought, well, I'm just going to explore my voice now that I've got the time and retire.
You're
and
right.
I joined a community choir in the city, in Beach Street, that's called One Voice.
Yeah.
And the feeling that I got there, without
from a choral
knowing,
community, from connecting with others in that group setting.
Yes.
Not being isolated.
Not being isolated. Absolutely. It is just, you can get so much joy, community, connectedness.
You're
and you feel free, self-expression. So I was just, every time I went for the class once a week, I came home so inspired, so happy that even my mom and we were singing.
Well, I tell you, that they say the gift of song. I mean, my wife's a former concert pianist. She's got a great voice. That was one of the things that blew me away. And you know, Katie, she can sing, she can play.
Absolutely.
But do you mind if I cut to a little clip of now? Whereabouts are the actually? Can we just cut to a little clip, Tommy, and let's have a look at actually the I Have a Voice Orphans Choir.
Okay. My name is Martha Tellez. A while ago, I joined a choral community and I found I Have a Voice. That experience ignited my passion to create I Have a Voice Orphans Choir, a far better idea than my previous attempts to sponsor a particular orphan. Today, our project brings vitality to the lives of many, many orphans. Another joy to me and more joy to them. Now, we are well established in 3 orphanages with plans to create many, many more. With you joining us on what is now a well-established project. A joy for you and a joy for them. Just see what the orphans feel and how the Mother Superior of our first orphanage sees the successes of our project.
Now, Martha, the nun, what did she say?
Oh, she said it all. She said what it is for the children to participate in a choir. She calls that when there is a therapy for them,
Yes.
a self-expression. They find themselves free and present in classrooms. So you can go and look in the website, the whole
Explanation what she says.
of what she says, and the results with the children is just really, really amazing. They are self-expressed. They get discipline.
Yes.
And they get prepared to take over the world in the future as leaders, as
I can imagine. I
worthy
mean,
human beings.
that must essentially give you a whole lot of hope for your country of naturalization, or the country of birth, I should say, your birth country. When you see kids that have gone through such hardship and they're finding so much joy and community within each other, and then to see one of them potentially go on to something of a leadership role within your nation, probably a good thing for Mexico. How's the results been with the kids thus far? What sort of grades are they improving in school? Are they getting better at athleticism?
Yes. Well, one of the things that it does, it is give them an experience, a very powerful experience of joy and unity in their community when they participate in the choir, as well as they build discipline and self-expression, and now they are taking different roles within their as kids, as children. They are happier all the time. So the results are really amazing. We have had we started in 2017.
Yeah.
It was the first choir.
Okay.
And until now, we have 4 choirs. So we are following them up
Yeah, right.
to compare the results.
So that's huge. I mean,
Yes, absolutely.
to see this transition and change must just give you an immense amount of joy. Now, obviously, being in the current global situation that we are in with this health pandemic, and knowing what's going on in Mexico, how are the orphans? How are the orphanages over there, and how are the orphans? Are they okay? They're doing okay?
Well, one of the things that we know, we are also in lockdown in Mexico.
Yeah.
And there are no classes, no schools. So
And they can't do Zoom learning, of course.
no.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the choir masters, well, they cannot teach them.
Okay.
So the choir masters have been creating the future for where they come back.
Okay.
And at home, they are doing their own.
Because it's a different
private
economy there, so they don't have the access to things such as tablets and all the modern techs that I guess the Australian kids have or first world kids have. So they're out of their usual routine.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the parents, they have mobile phones, and they have some of them, they might have tablets, but not the majority of the kids.
Yeah, but not in
And,
the kids in the orphanage, though, huh?
No.
Okay.
And
Wow.
in one orphanage, they have computer rooms,
Okay.
but at the same time, they are not organized to
Sure, I totally
to
understand.
participate with all the
And for you
technology.
being the founder of the company and being in lockdown in Australia, because you normally do a biannual trip there, is that correct? How often are you frequenting
Yeah,
to keep your eye on it all, like in person?
sometimes I go there twice a year, and sometimes once a year.
Okay.
And now we get together via Zoom every week,
Sure.
only with the choir masters, not with the children. But that's how we are preparing, or they are preparing, for creating new programs and a future for them.
Awesome.
And themselves, they are singing together, and like with this technology, each one in their own house, but singing together.
Wow.
So it's just really, really amazing. So
That must give you a sense of confidence, because obviously, like there's probably no job keeper for these people per se, and the Mexican government probably wouldn't be giving the same financial assistance that the Australian government and other first world countries have. What sort of assistance do you know is going on in Mexico to help these? Because my wife, she's a piano teacher and at a all-girls school, as you know, Katie, actually. And the name of the room is named after my great-great-auntie. We'll go into that another day. It's kind of very coincidental and weird. You know this story. It's bizarre. But, Katie, because she's teaching piano and she's teaching at distance, and the only thing she's not doing different to your choir masters is singing and playing. In a first world country, that's just the given. It must be hard for the kids. How are the kids handling it?
Well, one of the things is we don't have, like here, help for the government when they are not working, the parents.
Yeah, right.
So for the choir masters, if they take away the pay or the salary, but we have been keeping up with them so they don't lose their job or their income.
Yeah, right.
They still have to feed their families.
Okay.
But that's the only thing we can do from
And
here.
that's coming obviously from your own
from
resources.
our company resources.
Wow,
Yes.
that's an incredible thing, and obviously, much kudos to your mentor and also to your investors. Now, the actual company itself is how many orphanages are we in at the moment, and how many kids are actually being helped out by are in the program? Because I'm sure it's a program, right?
Yes, indeed. Well, we have now 4 choirs.
Yes.
And we have 132 kids.
Wow.
Approximately.
That's big.
And our next step is to build another one in the city, in another state, the state of Chiapas in the south.
Okay.
As well as we intend to build one or create a choir here in Australia.
Wow.
In Western Australia.
Okay.
And we have already the community.
Yes.
And but
what sort of community are we talking there? I mean, a orphan choir in Australia. We don't really hear this. What kind of community are we talking that might be in this?
The community that we are talking about, it is our choirs are for disadvantaged children or people with difficulty in the beginning.
Okay.
And so because our mission is to empower the children with a powerful experience of joy and unity with the community.
Yes.
Participating in the choir, they also are trained to discipline and they build self-confidence.
Yep.
So in Australia, it will be the idea to create a choir in Western Australia in a Aboriginal community.
That must be an incredible feeling.
They could start creating the experience of working together, be part of a team, and also be proud of their culture. And so we are now...
I think that's one of the most extraordinary things about Australia. I was born on the Northern Beaches, and I grew up in Manly, and when you hear the story of how Manly was called Manly, it amazes me the non-Indigenous presence in Sydney and in Manly. It's got this. I guess there's a lot of places that have Indigenous names in Australia, but it really blows me away. There isn't a lot of Indigenous presence here, and Aboriginal people are same as you and I, absolute wonderful, salt of the earth people. I've got some good mates.
Yeah.
So it must be an amazing thing for you to give this back. I mean, when can you see this this Australian orphanage coming of fruition?
Yeah, Australian choir, because as you say, many Aboriginals, they have their parents, but their communities are very special. And they need a little bit of discipline and to be proud of themselves. In some areas, there are many suicides because they don't appreciate life. They just don't know. They have no self-confidence. They cannot create a future. So it will be a great thing for them to have a choir. They are very good singers, and as well as they can be very proud of their own culture, and it will create something. It will make a difference. It will be really a good contribution. The problem that we are facing now, it is that
recognition.
No. The problem is that dealing with them is like they don't answer emails, phone calls.
It's probably a trust-based situation because there've probably been a lot of carrots dangled in front of them, or put out the olive branch, as they say, and then a lot of people just don't deliver. So, do you think the trust aspect must be probably?
They might be some of the reasons for them to do it, and at the same time, they feel like maybe they don't want to do anything outside of their own community, even though the choir is going to be.
I bet you the first group that does that, you'll end up getting a whole range of super talented people. We might see the next big actor coming out of that, or singer, or an athlete that rises. Because Aboriginal people are super talented.
Yes, they are, and many have just an extraordinary
life story and
life
fabric.
Stories as well, voices, and it's just really great. So we are working on that for the next choir here in Australia.
We hope that, and that would be choir number 5.
Number 5,
because 4 in Mexico, 1 here,
yes,
and 1 more in Mexico.
That's right. So it will be 6.
Wow, that's huge. Half a dozen choirs in 3 years.
Yes.
Okay.
So far.
So how are you funding these choirs then? I mean, obviously, we're talking about, you're giving these people almost a job keeper during COVID. You've got 3 choirs up and running. You're looking at funding a 4th. You've got a 5th in Australia. The Australian government going to be pitching in. I hope the Australian government, look at things like Josh Frydenberg, and obviously there's a Aboriginal Affairs Minister. Are they getting behind this, or?
Well, we hope. We'll get to that stage of getting some funds from the government.
They should be chipping in.
Charity. And
they awarded you the charity notoriety, didn't they? The government are the ones.
The government, we have gained that charity status.
Yep.
And at the same time, now it's surviving because of the amazing contribution of donors.
Fantastic.
And we require that part to continue. But whatever it takes, it is something that it has been a dream for me.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, this is the time of the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to go have a little break from Martha, and we're going to go to a couple of shout-outs. I'm going to duck over to the control room and ask Tommy B. Tommy B, 2 shout-outs of the week. Who would you like to shout out to, and why would you like to shout out to them?
I'd like to shout out to my family back home in Ireland and my missus. And, just a big lot of love. Send it out to them. That's who I'd like to shout out to.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, Martha Tellez, who would you like to, give a bit of love to this week, or shout-outs? Is anyone that you think deserves a bit of, conversation to?
A lot to my partner, Ian, and for the great contribution that he has been doing and made for our organization.
Okay, fantastic. Well, my shout out for the week, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to shout out to the people at the ATO who've recognised I Have a Voice Orphans Choir as a charity. And I'd also like to shout out again to the ATO for giving people the JobKeeper allowance. Now, the JobKeeper, does that play any relevance to you, considering that you do have a charity? Do charities get JobKeeper or?
No. We have tax deductible for the donors.
Okay, but you're not an employee. You're not an employee per se. Wow.
No.
That's an amazing thing you're doing. Now, Martha, I'm not sure of the stats, and this is maybe something I'll ask Tom to feed into the program as we go, but there's a lot of women in the world that haven't bared children, can't bear children, or get to a point in their age, and as that saying goes, I hate to say it, but their eggs are fried. What do you know about the stats of women on the planet that might be in a similar situation to yourself that could see light in the I Have a Voice Orphans Choir project? Because you're helping, virtually a year of school, 130 kids. You say in a Sydney school, 130 students going through, but across 4 choirs. How many women do you know in Australia don't have children?
Oh, well, but lots of women all over the world that don't have children and then want to have children. For me, I wanted to have lots of children, and I didn't. However, why do we need any more children if we cannot have them? If there are so many that are orphans,
unsupported.
Or so many unsupported, so why not support them? So that's how I got the idea.
Correct.
And it's just so amazing and a great feeling of joy and fulfillment in my life to do that. It has given purpose, and I will give my life for them, because for the joy that they bring to the world, and not only to myself, with the music, to the community, to their neighborhood, to the society. At Christmas time, they have Christmas carols, and they brought joy to so many people. We have videos, and when the church was full, it was packed. There was no spaces, people sitting on the floors to hear the children sing. So it's just an amazing, the impact that it brings to the world. A lot of joy and love.
And that must, being a mother to many, it must give you a lot of sense of joy to know that little idea that sprung in your mind has turned into such a huge opportunity for these children who are orphans.
That's right. It is just an amazing feeling to know that this will impact their lives.
So casting your mind back to the 80s in Mexico City, do you remember orphans on the street then? Do you think about what as a woman, do you ever think about that, like what you saw?
Yes. When I was in primary school, when we were little, we went to a private school. However, my father traveled every year. He was an accountant from one company to another. So in one of the places we landed half year, the only place that we could have place in the school was in a public school.
Yeah.
And it's when I discovered that many of my classmates were in school without having breakfast or having. So it was an eye-opening for me, and just say, well, how come they don't have what we have?
Okay.
So since then, I thought, well, I would like to assist or help some of the children.
Wow.
And when I didn't have children,
did you share your meals? Were you saying, once you found it, you're saying, here, look, here's half my Vegemite. You didn't have Vegemite sandwiches.
We didn't have Vegemite,
I'm
but
sure.
we have frijoles.
Ooh.
Tortas de frijoles.
And corn chips, or is that just a myth? Were you like, here's my bag of CCs, or?
No, but one of the things in that school, there was something that the government provided.
Yes.
It was just a little drink of milk.
Okay.
Flavor milk.
Yeah.
And then one piece of bread, like a sandwich, but we call torta.
Okay.
The torta de frijoles or torta de miel, honey bread. And that was that. But
delicious, I bet, and like perfect kids food, correct?
Yes. So.
And what about today? Like, So that's in the 80s. That's going on in your everyday primary school. Is there the same quantity of orphans today as there was back 30, 40 years ago? Or
Well, one of the things, I guess, a while ago, they were poor people, but there were not many drugs.
Okay.
Nowadays, that is the big problem. Some of the kids, they have parents who are drug addicts,
Yeah, right.
or they have relatives.
Were drugs
that,
in hiding back? Was there drugs in Mexico back then, or was it not?
Well,
was it not really a cash thing?
Yeah, I was not aware, and I guess they were, but families, because they are the majority, they are Catholics.
Yeah.
They were doing well and working hard. However,
without that American influence, do you think North America or the States sort of gave the influence for the cash flow the transition across borders? Or
I guess, well, many Mexicans or Latin Americans, they went to the U.S. because they have very better salaries.
Yeah.
And
was there a border then, or was it like super lax? How did you get across back then? How would you get to the States?
It was
San Diego?
easier. It was easier. Well, there's just the whole border, Tijuana, mainly Tijuana, and well, the whole border, El Paso, Tijuana, and many people just went back and forth. It was not that strict, but the more people who crossed the border, and they started creating problems for the U.S., for the people who were unemployed, but at the same time, the Mexicans or
getting their checks.
Central Americans are the ones who were prepared to work and to do anything.
Yeah, definitely.
So, that was one of the things. Now, the drugs, they come from South America, from Colombia, from other places. So that started everywhere.
Yeah, right.
So it's not the U.S., but anyway, people in Mexico, and now that is a big problem with the drug cartels.
Yeah, right.
And then they recruit young people because they pay them.
Okay.
And that's a huge, big problem.
Hey, Tommy, a little question to you, mate. Do you have that sort of issue going on over there in Ireland? Is that like, is there a country where that sort of situation occurred for the Irish at all, or?
If you're talking about drugs and the impact they've had, I remember, or what I was told was that Dublin City years ago used to have like homeless and problems with alcohol, and then heroin came along and basically totally obliterated the city centre community. And then like you walk around Dublin city centre today and you can still see the effects of it. So I suppose maybe there's some parallels like that, but drugs are definitely bad.
Yeah, well, if you want to sort of clean your life up, the greatest way to do it is to seek help and to make sure that you've got the right support around you. We have lucky enough to have on the show last week someone who turned his life around through hard work. Now, Tom, you like a bit of hard work. I know that. Have you been working much lately, or how's this COVID-19 thing affected your situation? Because you don't get the JobKeeper, right, being on your visa status in Australia?
No, unfortunately, I am on a temporary visa here, so I don't really get any government support, besides being given the opportunity to pull out my super. But yeah, work is slow at the minute. Things were going really well before COVID, and then COVID came along and basically destroyed a lot of industries, my industry as well. Like I used to work in events, doing a lot of videography and video editing and stuff like that, and now that's all sort of gone. So it's just sort of like trying to be careful with savings at the minute and take it day by day.
Well, if you want to think that Tommy's doing a good job with the show, because we know he is, certainly just hit him up here on Facebook. You can see his address just below here, and give him a hoy, because I know Tommy is the gun. No, T-Bone's good with the camera, good with an edit, good with the story, and a good chap. Martha, we've got to rule out the situation of drugs getting into these kids in the future as well. Do you think these kids that are coming from an underprivileged background, when they see what's happening with something like, say, the I Have a Voice Orphans Choir, is that giving them such great foundations that they'd never pivot that way into an addictive life? Do you think that they're really wholesome children?
Well, we will know what's going to happen, but the only thing we know is that they get self-confidence
Yes.
and they get better grades in school.
Yeah.
They are inspired to continue and doing something good. They get to work with a team. They have many possibilities more than if they don't have any of that. That they live unhappily. They get abused. They don't respect.
So what sort of
anyone.
backgrounds are they coming from? The kids that are ending up in the orphanage, are they homeless? Are their parents deceased? Or what, do you know much about the spectrum of kids?
Yes, some of them they don't have a father,
Yeah.
and the mother has 2-3 kids, so she's got to work, and if she leaves the kids at home on their own because they have to eat, they have to do something. So that's why some of these kids who are on their own at home, they are now in these homes.
Yeah.
And also some parents are addicts. Some they don't have both parents, or they don't have a mother.
Yes.
And then they have a father, but the father has to work. The father is not responsible for them. And some of them, they are left with the relatives, and the relatives, they don't want them, or the grandparents are too old.
And when you get to see these kids and embrace them the way you do, like when you go there, you obviously, you know a lot of people, and you're a warm-hearted Mexican woman, the attention that you get to give the kids. What sort of hugs do these kids give when they see you? Is it the warmest hug you've ever felt, or?
Oh, absolutely. They are just amazing, and they are willing to have someone to give them hugs, as well as the places where they are. Sometimes the nuns, they are the ones who hug them, and they, with the music, they feel that connection. They feel that they are worth it, that they have a nice voice, and they have written me some letters.
Well, talking about nice voices, I mean, I hate to sort of pivot here, but I'd like to hear Miss Virginia Lagos over there in Boothland. Would you like to hear Virginia just hit out a little track for us?
Yes, let's do that. And Virginia is part of the choir where I was inspired by this project. I created this project, and she is a person who is very warm. And because I don't sing, I always sat next to her. And it was also, she was supporting me, and a guide for me when I was singing. So let's hear.
What an incredible thing. Hey, just one thing about Virginia I noticed as well is that she can speak a bit of Spanish. Is that correct? Virginia's got a bit of Espanol going on?
Yes, she's from the Philippines, but she speaks Spanish. She is married with a person from Chile.
Hey, Virginia, are you...
Yes.
Hola, Virginia. There you are.
Hola.
Okay. How's things in Boothland there? You enjoying yourself up in the big old booth?
Yes, I am enjoying myself here.
Hey, if you were going to speak, if you were going to say a couple of words to Marta in Spanish, that's, how would you address her, I guess, in Filipino Spanish?
Oh, Filipino Spanish. No, I can speak straight Spanish as the trouble. But with Filipino, it's separate. It's different. Kumusta po kayo in Filipino? Komustas, Martha, in Espanol.
Wow.
Muy bien, excelente.
And what does the puka mean? I heard the word puka. Is that right?
Because po is like a sign of respect. We put po, P-O.
Okay.
It's a sign of respect.
Hey, Virginia Lagos, just a quick question. My friend, you're up there in Boothland. How long have you been in Australia, and what's your experience been like?
Oh, actually, it's about 43 years now, because today is our wedding anniversary.
No way. And you're here on the Matt Konnects?
Yes, 42 years.
Wow, that is unbelievable. Most people can't even be married, for 43 months, let alone 43 weeks. 43 years, that is unbelievable. What's your husband's name?
Pedro.
Would you like to give a big shout out to Pedro?
Yes, my darling. I call him Pogi, Pogi is a shortcut for handsome in Filipino. So Pogi, I love you.
Wow. Hey, do you think Tom is a little bit poggy as well?
Oh, yes.
Wow. Well, Tommy, you talked about your Mexican food being up there in your top 3. I'm sure with a feedback saying that you're a bit of a poggy. Maybe Mexican women are as well. But enough of me, enough of you. Let's hear a little bit of music melody from our beautiful friend Virginia Lagos. This is the Matt Konnects, everyone.
Mama, I miss the days when you were here beside me. Mama, those happy days when you were here to guide me. Safe in the flow of your love, sent from the heavens above. No one can ever replace the warmth of your tender embrace. Oh, Mama, until the days that we're together once more, I live in this memory until the days that we're together once more. Mama, I miss the days when you were here beside me. Mama, those happy days when you were here to guide me. Faith in the flow of your love, sent from the heavens above. No one can ever replace the warmth of your tender embrace. Oh, Mama, until the days that we're together once more, I live in this memory until the days that we're together once more. Oh, Mama, once more.
That was Virginia Lagos with Mama. Now, Virginia, the actual song Mama, who is the artist?
Oh, really? It's Connie Francis, but she sang English and Italian. But I just sang English, which I took from Lia Salonga, a Filipina singer, which is more to my, shall I say, it's English. So it's all English.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, you've got Spanish and Italian better down than I have. But your book here, obviously, Dear Annette, Love, Mercy, that's a book about your mother. The actual book, where can people find it? How do they get their hands on it?
Oh, it's just in Amazon. You can buy it from Amazon.
Just in Amazon. I mean,
Yes.
you play it down like it's just at the corner shop. It's a huge thing to get in Amazon. Are you grateful that it's on? The book's available to the world through there. And what's the book? What's your greatest chapter in the book that you love?
Well, I suppose it's trials and tribulations. I put it chapter by chapter, from birth to to eternity. So trials and tribulations, which people can learn about. My mother's. She went through the war as well. So there's a lot of stories and anecdotes there, and it's a story that despite all these trials and tribulations, she just moved on with her life.
Wow. Now that sounds like a book that we all must read, because a lot of us are going through life changes all the time. You've got to build resilience.
Mm-hmm.
Martha Tellez, Martha, just quickly, the pronunciation of your surname again?
Tellez.
Tellez. I can't even get that right. Not like tyres on the car, but Martha Tellez. Martha is an incredible friend of yours there, Virginia. What do you think about what Martha's doing over there in Mexico? And do you think it's got the ability to work globally? Would it do good things to the people of the Philippines? Should Manny Pacquiao and other people over there get behind it? What do you think about how it would work in the Philippines?
First, it's a magnanimous gesture that Martha has done. And of course, it will work wonders in Philippines because Filipinos are like karaoke queens. So they would love to be in the choir, especially the poor people. That's the way they live, They live with music, with all the poverty there, but it raises their spirit with singing and dancing, of course. So it will be good. If Pacquiao could back it up, that would be great.
What did you think of the track, Marta?
Well, I think mainly that Virginia sings pretty well.
Yeah, certainly does.
It's a great member in that choir.
And she was one of the women who initially inspired you to find your own voice. Is that correct?
Well, she's one of the members, but the inspiration is that without knowing anyone or not knowing the teacher or other members, she was very open, as well as because she is very tuned. She has a very tuned voice.
Yeah.
And also supporting me all the time. She was always saving a place next to her because I said, well, look, you...
I need someone to hold my hand.
You inspire me because it's very clearly. And so anyway, we make very good friends.
Okay, great.
And, but the inspiration came because of the feeling that you get being part of a group.
Okay, great.
And
had you done much singing previously? And how did you find yourself going to a choir? Because I was in the school choir, and I remember doing a performance, and one of the girls was that nervous that she vomited. We were up at Beacon Hill up the road there, and she actually vomited on the row in front of me. I was I was a medium height child, so I was in the middle row, but she projectile vomited, and people get scared and nervous. How did you first get over your fear, and what made you want to do it?
Well, that's one of the things. First of all, I never sang before.
Yeah, right.
And when my brothers and sisters, they have better voices, and one of my sisters sings beautifully and plays the guitar as well as my brother. And myself, well, I couldn't sing, and I was just mumbling
in
the songs in the background.
You didn't try to become the percussion person, like tapping on the table, or?
But that's right. But with the technology, I read in the internet that anyone can sing.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I might be able to sing. And it's just a matter of training your voice. So then I said, well, yeah, now that I'm retired, I'm just going to join a choir. And this community choir, I just joined the choir. And that is why I got the idea, because it gives you confidence. You are not on your own.
Yeah.
Gives you confidence, makes you happy. It is a feeling that you are belonging in a group.
Exactly.
And you are supported, and there is no discrimination. It's just male, women, different ages, different backgrounds,
careers, ethnicity,
everything. So it's very inclusive of everyone. So
did you have when was a light bulb or watershed moment? Did you cry when you thought about this, or were you in the shower or laying in bed and went, oh my God, I've got to help those little kids that I saw when I was a little kid at school? When was the light bulb moment?
The light bulb moment is I had sponsored a child, and it was before Christmas. And I wanted to give her something.
Yeah, right.
But then I said, well, if I give something special to this girl, what about her friends? And then I thought, oh, if I send money, well, money. So I was just dealing with and trying to choose something to give for Christmas.
Yeah.
However, after being back from the choir, one night is when the eureka moment came to me. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't sing, but in the choir, I'm a participant.
Exactly.
And I included, and what they need is a choir master. And it's not only for one child, but it's going to be for several children. So I couldn't sleep that night. And then I didn't know how I was going to do it, because I don't have friends who are musicians or who sings in Mexico.
Yeah, right.
So
And you couldn't get your choir master from here to just fly over to Mexico because you'd need
a
more
little
than
bit expensive, and also they need to learn Spanish.
It's a lot of hurdles to get over to get to Mexico, I'm sure.
That's right. But with our technology, I look on the internet and in Google different musical
And
festivals.
how was the response? Like when you first breached it with someone, how was the response of people going, "You're out of your mind," or were they going, "Wow, this makes sense"?
Of course. They would saying, "Oh, how are you going to be able to do that? And you live here. How is it going to happen in Mexico?"
And especially because of Mexico being Mexico, everyone must have thought, they're going to rip you off. There's going to be scams, but obviously they're not because you're Mexican and you know how to work out a good egg from a good egg, right?
That's right. And at the same time, yes, when you have an idea, and I knew, well, this is what I'm going to do. And before I passed away, maybe in 30 more years or whenever it comes to you, I need to do something with my life.
Sure.
And I said, well, this is going to happen. So
that's your moment.
I was
legacy
scared. Because I didn't know. I was telling everyone, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. And at the same time, it goes, oh yeah. You you are not going to be able to do it. But anyway, I said to everyone, and I said, well, I need someone to work with someone. So I found my mentor, Scott Forgy.
Okay.
And
where's Scott from? What company is Scott from?
He is from America, but he's a consultant to many different companies.
Yeah, right. And what did Scott think? Was Scotty like, "Yo, man, this is great. We can do this," or was Scott like, "This is great"?
No, he was just, of course, yeah, you can do it.
That anything's possible attitude goes a long way, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It's got to be in America. It's hard to get that here. The tall poppy here, people start going, "You're in Sydney and you want to do this in Mexico? Are you out of your mind?"
And
so cool.
Yeah, no, he was so supportive from the very beginning, as well as we started designing and planning the program.
Yeah, right.
We created what we call a choir in a box.
Okay,
and
that makes sense.
So we deliver everything that a choir needs. We deliver to orphanages, and a choir in a box contains keyboard, music, includes a choir master, includes
in a box.
In a box.
Wow, it's like Jack in the Box. That's cool.
That's right. So the thing is, for me, I just started going to different orphanages and offering to them a choir in a box.
That's fantastic. What a gift. And, Martha, you're 4 orphanages in, 5 soon to be in Mexico, 1 in Australia with the support of the Australian government. We really want to make sure that that's endorsed because you can't. And here that there is underprivileged people, especially in the Indigenous community. Australian Indigenous people deserve the love and support in every single way in Australia. But Martha, how many people would you love to? I mean, obviously there's a big planet out there. I think of the Philippines. Obviously where Virginia's from. There's underprivileged kids there. There's the street kids. There's orphans. There's prostitution. There's drugs. There's all these like horrible cockroachy things. Or let's say you could say. But in your number, in your mind, how many kids would you love to positively have that impact and get a result from?
Well, my intention is to do it all over the world. Like starting here with one choir, and normally it's like 20, 30 children.
Wow.
In each choir. So all different ages, but primary school mainly. And as soon as one choir starts,
it's the benchmark for success, right? Yeah. I mean, that's what happened in Mexico, was it? Was it stage 1 and then you starting to build those rungs of ladders and suddenly you got a platform and where do we go? Okay, great.
That's right. So
awesome.
Now we have structured that and it's like a franchise. We can create like McDonald's everywhere in the world.
But you won't be doing McHappy Meals. You'll be doing choir in a box, right?
Choir in a box. Wow. We are going to be delivering a choir in a box.
And it's free. It's not $4.95.
It's free. That's
no drive-through?
No drive-through. It is just all free.
I'd call it
And
a sing through if you're going to call it anything. You know, you got to sing through your time at the orphanage and get out the other side a better person. Now, Martha, if you could just offer our wonderful viewers of the show a little bit of advice on how they can get in contact with you, and look straight down that camera over my shoulder. And how would you suggest they get in contact with I Have a Voice Orphans Choir or yourself if they want to donate or participate?
yeah, if they want to donate money, go to our website. That is www.ihaveavoiceorphanschoir.org. And you'll find all the information or contact number. And you contact me directly, Martha Tellez.
Okay. Well, and Martha, I'm calling you Tellez, but it's Tellez. Now, if they want to not only if they want to participate in I Have a Voice Orphans Choir, how would you then, if you didn't have the money to donate, but you had the time and you wanted to participate to actually help this wonderful movement, or if you're a woman out there who hasn't had children of her own and has time up her sleeve and resonates with what they're seeing tonight, is there any other way that people can create these choir in a boxes or help you get to the next level as well, as opposed to just coming up with cash? If they got keyboards lying around, what do you need? What's going to take your company to the next level?
One of the things also, we have page in Facebook. So if you go to Facebook, I Have a Voice Orphans Choir. Another way to do it is just to like the page, as well as pass it to all your friends and people that you know, so they know what it is about.
You're
and the people who can donate. So spread the word.
Not spread the virus? Is this like spread the vocal virus?
Unfortunately, with the we wish it could spread like the COVID-19.
Yeah, right.
But it's not that case.
Well, can I ask you a question then?
Yes.
Because we're talking about, something that's global and global size and results. As far as the funding goes for a single choir, on an annual, if you annualize that in a business model, what essentially does it cost in Australian dollars in Mexico, to have this going in Mexico? Because that's currently where you're set up. What's the cost we're looking at?
Well, one of the things is so practical, and per kid, per choir, it costs $2.50 Australian.
Per year or per week?
We did the calculations, and I think it is per week.
Okay. So around $150 a year per person.
Yeah, something like that. It's just very, very
nominal price,
cost effective.
Yeah, definitely.
And well, we have
$250 per
everything.
week. I mean, if this water bottle here was to be sold, it would, especially at a sporting venue, it'd be $8. Airport would be $9. No, I'm joking.
That's right.
Obviously, there's a lot of inflation here, and things aren't justified in price. But $250 is amazing. Now, if you want to go to ihaveavoiceorphanschoir.org and support Martha Tellez's wonderful lifelong ambition, or that's come to be a lifelong ambition because it's the chapter of her life she's living it now, certainly do so. And if you want to know more about Mexico, where would you go to learn a little bit about Mexico? Because you can't go to Mexico right now. Where would you learn about Mexico?
Oh, well, now that's just on the internet. There's a lot of information. And at the same time, when there is any problems, Mexico, it is a beautiful country. Even Mexico City, the culture, all the architecture and museums and art galleries and all that, it is
an
absolutely treasure.
Stunning.
As well as we have also
Day of the Dead, or the other greater seasonal festivals
in different small towns.
Yeah.
And some are from the colonial times. It's a bit like Spain, different with the music of all influence from the Spanish, as well as there is the ancient culture, the pyramids and markets.
Beautiful.
So it's a beautiful, beautiful country. People are varied.
You were talking
friendly.
earlier, when you first opened up the show tonight, you're talking about when you came to Australia, there was an array of cuisine, but not much Mexican cuisine. We've seen Guzman and Gomez and a few other sort of pop-up, franchise, like you mentioned McDonald's earlier, this, pop up here in Australia. How good would you rate Guzman and Gomez when you put it next to a Mexican meal? And what's the Mexican food like these days in Australia?
Well, Guzman y Gomez is it's good, but it's not 100% the way we eat in Mexico.
Authentic.
On the street.
Yeah.
Authentic.
Sorry,
This
guys,
is
I have to chime in there. Come on, let's be honest. That Guzman place, that's not real Mexican food. That's terrible stuff. Come on. I love Mexican food, and that stuff is trash.
You know it.
Yeah, she's just too polite to say it. Like, you want to get the good stuff. Go to where the real find out where the real Mexicans are going to eat.
We don't have a real Mexican
Do
food.
we don't have like Cabra Matters Vietnamese. We don't have a Mexican. There's not like Little Mexico in Australia, is there?
No. Before, we used to have the Independence Day.
And I back you
And
there,
that's-
Tommy. I back you there, Tommy. That is the deal.
In one of the big hotels every
Yeah.
September, a chef from Mexico would come. Then it was the only place that you could eat real Mexican food.
And you couldn't get a
It's-
ticket to it. I bet it was packed.
No, it is. That's correct.
Wow.
It's very difficult to say that there is a Mexican restaurant here. It is all Tex-Mex,
Okay.
and people love it
Yeah.
because they love.
That's all
corn
they know,
chips,
but it's all they know.
corn chips
And salsa.
and salsa.
And Corona, not
Oh,
coronavirus.
That's right. But Corona.
Was
And
was that kind of odd for you when you heard the word Corona come out? And obviously Corona's your Mexican beer. There's Modelo, there's a bunch of beers that come out of Mexico, but was that a
Yeah.
trippy thing to hear the Corona and you go, that's our bloody country beer? Like, what's going on here?
Well, whatever it was, I knew. Well, it was not that why they chose that name. Well, whatever. But anyway, I think in many places in the U.S. they stopped drinking Corona beer.
Yeah, right. And
But-
is it true that, with the Corona beer, you get the lime and people put it in the beer, but in Mexico, you used to do it to clean the top before you had a sip for
No,
hygiene,
no.
or is that
In,
just a lie?
No. In Mexico, you don't put lemon around the.
You drink it that
so-
quick because you don't even need it, right? It's so
Yeah.
hot.
But also, we don't drink many Coronas because we
No.
have so many different kinds of beers. Some
Yeah.
dark beers, and it's just so beautiful.
There's
so,
a lot of culture there in Mexico.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
just a wham bam beach,
Here, everyone thinks that that's the only beer that you can get in Mexico.
And Guzman and Gomez is the only food you can get in Mexico. But that's, as Tom said, that's a lie, Tom, isn't it?
It is. Many people love it because it's tasty, but it's not Mexican. In Mexico, the dishes and the different foods are out of this world. So
Well, I tell you, there is nothing better than authenticity, Marta. It's absolutely a pleasure to hear what you're doing for these kids in Mexico. Now, I have a Voice Orphans choir. Are we what cities and states are we over there in Mexico in?
well, now there is only in the state of Michoacan.
How
in
many
this-
states in the country?
Oh, that's 23.
So you've got 4 orphanages. Sorry to cut you off there. You got 4 orphanages in one state, and there's another 22 to get into.
Yes,
Wow,
whatever. But we are starting in Chiapas.
that's a lot of
the next month.
poverty then in one state, right?
Well,
Is that similar across the whole country?
Yeah, it's similar across the whole
Widespread.
country. So, but whenever we start, whatever number of kids, well, there's a
It's a win.
difference.
It's a huge
and,
win.
yeah, so it's
And what about, can I ask you a question before we cut out for this evening and go back to the booth and hear a little bit more lovely music? But Marta, is there any, have you had any support from any Mexican musicians? Is there someone who's come on who's like the, I guess the Adele or the big hit Mexican musician who's gone, you know what, I sing and it improved my life. I mean, is Ricky Martin, is he Mexican, Ricky Martin?
I don't know where is he from.
Okay.
Ricky Martin. Yeah.
You know, any of these
But,
Latino
yeah,
endorsers. Is Jennifer Lopez getting in there? J-Lo going, you know what? I'm a Latino woman. I'm going to shake some money this way.
Well, one of the things is that we are like in the beginning
Yeah.
of the success that.
Well, you've done
is
a hell of a
happening.
job to get to 130 kids.
And now that is what we are looking for, and is what we are aiming to have opportunities to artists or musicians to promote and participate, and to see the result that is get.
Well,
that you
it's
can
amazing
achieve.
because you think that here, I mean, if it was in Australia, someone like Jimmy Barnes would get in there and say, you know what, they're helping the Indigenous kids out. I'm here to give them a hand and write a song and play it. I'd love to see that happen, you know, especially in Mexico where there's been so much trauma.
Well, it's going to happen.
Awesome.
It's going to happen, but yes.
Now, I heard through the grapevine that essentially, what's his name?
Hugh Jackman.
Is that correct? Is
Yes,
that
Hugh
you?
Jackman.
You've reached out to Hugh and said, "Come on, lend a hand here," or
Yes, he was in Mexico, and we were talking to him. But however, his shows were at night,
okay,
and the children are too young. So
Yeah, right.
We were aiming for that.
well, at
However,
least you've dropped the seed, you sowed the seed. Hopefully, from that, the corn grows out of the ground,
yeah,
right?
that's right.
Yeah.
But we won't stop, and we'll reach Mexican singers or
I love it.
artists, and so. But
Hey, can I throw a challenge to you? Is that
Yeah.
okay?
That's fine.
Okay, so you're a woman and you can cook. I know you can cook good food. Would you mind sending a recipe to our Facebook page on one of your Mexican treats that our loyal fans can maybe replicate themselves?
Yeah.
This can be a text. We can plan up there. Tom, what do you think? Good idea. Is that sort of something you'd like to look at? Marta's, mouth-watering Mexican meals?
For sure, yeah. I think I was saying at the start of the show that my top 3 foods by nation, Mexico's in there along with India and Italy. So yeah, I'd definitely be on for trying to whip something up in the kitchen on your recommendation, Martha.
And is there a particular dish that you prefer or that you tried?
I like tacos. I had a lot of Mexican friends and they just said they love tacos. I said to them about burritos and they go, oh, that's just from the north. That's Tex-Mex. We all eat tacos because a lot of them are from Mexico City. But yeah, I just love guacamole. I love spicy food.
Do you like soft or crunchy tacos, Tommy?
I like crunchy because it goes in contrast with all the soft stuff on the inside,
Wow.
All right,
Marta,
well,
is that the deal?
Yes, that's a deal. And maybe he can come one day with you and Katie after the restrictions.
Road
Yeah.
trip.
And
Woo.
yes, and taste the.
We'll do
the
that in
tacos.
Sydney, Tom.
Yes.
We'll take you to the waterfront Mexico setup we have here in Sydney, and I'll let you eat some food. But
Nice.
post-COVID restrictions only
Yes.
are gone.
Yes.
Tommy, now we're just going to, if you can cue it up, we're going to just get our lovely friend Virginia Lagos to send us out in the booth this evening. Marta, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. There is nothing better than reaching out our arms of appreciation for you, because what you've offered, I mean, Katie and myself, as you know, are parents, but what you've offered to not only as us, as, friends, but to our families and our child is something special, and what you offer to the world is phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to cut over to Boothland and we're going to chat to Miss Virginia Lagos before she goes live with the song. But one of the greatest things that you can do is give to people. If you want to give generously or ungenerously, just give. If it's a hug, it's a hug. Don't give people the bird in the traffic. It's not that nice. But if you want to give a couple of dollars, you know where it can go to. I Have a Voice, orphanschoir.org. Support this wonderful lady as she supports 130 kids so far on her own, with support through some of her generous donors. And because it's an NGO, it is a tax write-off. There is nothing better than getting a bit of back for what you give. Marta, what track are we going to close the show out with this evening?
But I am Australian.
Wow, Tom, I know you're not Australian, but I think that, this fits because this is a place that you love. Australia is your home now. It's where you'd love to live. Is that correct? Is this where you'd love to live?
Yeah, it's an awesome place. I love it here. Like, it's probably, to be honest with you, I think it's one of the greatest countries in the world. I'd love to be able to live here permanently, but I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm just going to enjoy my time here as it is.
Would you become an Australian citizen? Would you say, I am, we are?
Yeah, I would. If that ever became a possibility, definitely I'd jump all over it.
Bloody oath. Well, look, I hope that Tommy T-Bone can actually become an Aussie. He's got the spirit and the fight of one, as you know, our friend Martha Tellez does, and our friend in the booth, Virginia Lagos, with a heart of gold and a book dedicated to her mother. Unbelievable. Absolutely love this lady. You can't beat someone down for writing a book about their mother. Go out there and pick it up. Dear Annette, love Mercy. Absolutely love it. Now, there's a song here in my hand. It's called I Am Australian, and bloody oath I am. Now, would you be able to kick this one off there for me, my friend there, Miss Virginia?
Sure.
Okay.
1, 2,
2, 3.
4. I came from the dream time, from the dusty red salt plains. I am the ancient heart, the keeper of the flames. I stood up on the rocky shores, I watched the gold ships come. For 40,000 years, I've been the first Australian. I'm the daughter of a digger who sought the mother lode. The girl became a woman on the long and dusty road. I'm a child of the Depression. I saw the good times come. I'm a bushy, I'm a battler, I am Australian. We are one, but we are many, and from the land on earth we come. We share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australian. I am, you are, we are Australian.
Well, if that doesn't warm your cockles, what will? I tell you, that was one hell of a rendition. I'm not sure if I could do with going to our friends at Specsavers, but it was hard to read all the words. But I tell you, I'm super humbled, ladies and gentlemen. That's a wrap for the Brand Connect this evening. That's our second show done. Remember, the most important thing is love yourself, love your friends, and love everyone, and take care of yourself, because you are you, and you are the one who's going to get you through this lifetime. Much respect, and we'll see you next time.
The BK was proudly brought to you by Brand Connects, made possible by the support of Paulie B, Future Signage, and others. Many thanks to our special guest and you, our loyal followers. Catch you next time on the BK.